time for the Pucking Around podcast. Puck around and find out. Hey, everybody. So welcome to Pucking Around. It's just our second video podcast. We hope you enjoy that. So lots to talk about tonight. Last week, Habs were so-so and winless. Flyers were great. And fuck the Bruins anyway, right? Right, Habs fans? The big bad Bruins celebrated their cup wins from 1970 and 72. And the one thing that struck me from the ceremony was, man, they're old. Man, they're old. So let's get this show on the road. And with me tonight, as always, are these guys here, the Boston Three. That's Cam Norton, Alex Fournette, and Cam Sakarczyk. I said it wrong again, Sakarczyk. I don't know.
My name's also Matt, not Cam.
Are you?
Yeah, I thought you said like Cam Norton. I'm like, oh well, it's all right.
I'm not that ugly.
Wow.
Cam Norton.
You're just a spring fucking chicken. You.
No, listen, Cam Norton. That's your love child's name.
Hey,
be
nice. It's my last night before closer to 30 than 20. Damn it.
Am I the redheaded step uncle then?
Yeah, Matt. Apologies.
You're the step uncle we don't allow near the kid.
I have apologies for that. Wait,
like all these wrestling events and over 18 barbecues.
And this is the reason why we wouldn't let you near the kid. You bring him to wrestling events. That's it.
We can't have Alex around kids. Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I'm good with kids.
No.
My girlfriend's nieces.
Just in case anybody takes that seriously, that's just absolute joke. We don't need that. Yeah. Well, where are we going from here? I said the Cam Norton thing. Damn it. All right. So at this point, Rick loses his mind and he goes to the Douglas. We talk about our teams last week and a look ahead this week at the games, and then we'll get into the NHL talk. So leading off the talk this week, I forgot who's going first. Cam, the guy down there. The Bruins guy.
There's more senior moments from our main host, Rick, today.
Yes, it's very true.
Oh, buddy. We got to give you a nap.
It's very true, yes.
Hey, Rick, what can I say? Bruins go 2-0, baby, for this week. Hard-fought 2 games, and the games were convincing, both in 5-2 fashion in favor of Boston.
What do you expect when you only play 2 games in a week?
Yeah, it's fine. Still got to get up in the morning and play those games. So, despite the cocky attitude I have, we're going to get our shit reamed this week. I think at least go 2-2, but I'll get into that. No, good week, I think, for Boston. Got that win back in Boston against Montreal. I was happy to attend that game with the Mr. Matt Norton up there in the top right corner. I enjoyed it. He probably didn't, but that's fine.
No, it was fun. It was good to see the boys in person.
And it was his birthday, so not a great birthday present.
My birthday's tomorrow.
Well, but you were going there for your birthday. I thought I missed it. So
no, but it was a good time. Would happily do it again. But there really isn't much to say about last week. It was, again, 2 wins, both 5-2 against teams. Probably still 1 to 3 years out of making a decent playoff splash, I would say. People would argue that Buffalo's sooner.
Who was the other win against?
We had Buffalo and Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both 5-2.
I know you had
5-2, Rick.
What stood out in the Buffalo game for you?
Oh, it was a clinic. There's just too much. We took it to them.
Same on Saturday?
Yeah,
you destroyed us on Saturday.
It was 2 clinic games.
The first few minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Those 2 games were just nothing but clinics, I think, especially on the power play.
Everything. You guys were well coached. The players just like robots in the right spot. Like the execution was crazy good. And I hate to say that, but it was.
No, but seeing it real time, Matt and I were actually talking about this, just in hockey in general, seeing it like real time, not on the TV, even in warmups, you're watching these guys go, everything's just so fluid, so natural. And it just makes you wonder, like, if you were a decent skater, they'd still dance around you like nothing. It's unbelievable to watch, these talented players play, generally speaking too. Even looking at the opposite end in Montreal, so fast, so good. It's all
New Hook in person, man. Like he's quick in person. It's not even close.
Yeah.
He was fast in that game.
Oh, friggin' quick.
He was fast in that game. He had some,
But specifically on the Bruins, it was just
Was there anything in that Buffalo game that really stood out for you, though? Like, just beside, I know you told me it was a clinic, but is there one thing you feel like the Bruins specifically did well in that game more than anything else?
Christ, no, they just did everything good.
They just did everything. I can't even pinpoint one thing. They had Devin Levi on his heels. They had Owen Power and Darlene making mistakes.
Sounds like a very strong forecheck and consistent puck control in the offense.
Yeah, they dominated.
That was just it, though. That's what I mean by clinic, Alex. It was just they did nothing wrong. I think in that game.
They dominated us. The ice was like this. The ice was tilted to our zone always because they spent the whole night there. Maybe 1 or 2 turnovers in both those games that you can kind of look at, but that week for Boston was just too strong, too good. It was like they were playing AHL teams. Yeah. Not to say Montreal's bad, but I didn't think you're right. I didn't think they came to play that night, and I don't think Buffalo came to play. I mean, Buffalo got booed off their own home ice.
That's happened a lot for them in recent memory.
So, that's just one thing to speak more to, maybe more towards the fan base, but I don't know that. Yeah, I can't pinpoint anything specific because it was all just good. The bad news, all downhill from here. Probably. Yeah, this week. Yeah, no, this week we have Tampa tonight, Florida on Wednesday, Detroit Friday, and New York Rangers on Saturday. So
that's a gauntlet right there.
I mean, I'm still predicting 2-2. I think we actually lose tonight, win against Florida in any fashion, whether it be regulation overtime. I think we beat Detroit. But we can get to that. I'll give reasons why when we get into around the league talk, and then I think we actually lose to the Rangers. Should be a good game against Florida. First meeting since, right? That should be second. It'll be the second meeting against them, but it'll be the first meeting when their team, where both teams are, I'm going to say, moderately healthy. We'll be without Grzelcyk. He's not going to be cleared to play until Saturday, but that kid Mason Lowry is still impressing. Yeah, he played well. Man, the whole goddamn team played well. All right, Matt, you want to start? Are you done, Cam? Yeah, I was just gonna say, how about north of the border? I know you had one game you would have really liked to have a win, but didn't.
I'm gonna let Matt start because I usually go first.
Yeah, I mean that Calgary game was frustrating only because I feel like we had most of the play throughout that game. I mean, there were times where Calgary definitely did, but
we got
the majority of that game, I mean, we had them on shots.
Yeah.
It just the quality chances really weren't there, and it's a couple of bad defensive breakdowns, which has really kind of been the story, the past couple weeks. Aside from like Caden Gooley, the defense has been kind of all over the place.
Sloppy.
So we got to improve there. The same thing in Boston. I mean, the first few minutes, I thought we played well. We kind of took it to Boston a little bit, and then it just fell off.
That was it, though. First few minutes, I agree with you. First few minutes, I said on the stream, wow, what a forecheck they've got tonight. And it's almost as soon as I said that, it went away.
Oh yeah, I know. And Cam said it to me too when we were while we were there. He's like, wow, like you guys kind of came out firing here these past few minutes, and then we just kind of fell off a cliff, and then the defense was a mess. Well, it's good to see Slavkovsky get a couple points though.
Yeah.
It's probably the one positive I can take from that game.
His first time, I think, right? Even last year, this year, his first.
Might have been. I did think Gooley had a few nice defensive plays, but again, like besides him, no one else is really doing much of anything. So
defensively, yeah.
I did like that Caulfield was able to get a couple of nice passes to get one tees off on the power play. But they gotta keep that consistent. But yeah, just the defense has just been a mess. That's really been the story. And obviously with Iber out, it hurts a little bit. Strubal's now on the team because of that. He'll go on the California trip, and I'm excited to watch him play. He's done very well in Laval. So we'll kind of have to see how that goes. Hopefully we can get the defense back where it should be.
How do you think they do in California?
Don't become
we have all three California teams, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Anaheim, San Jose, then LA. That's the order.
I can We should beat San Jose.
We better
But in
beat
the back
San
of my mind, I'm worried
Sure,
because I
Dave.
just feel like the defense might shit itself.
Yeah, that's me
They'll
too.
break something.
I'm worried too.
But, if I'm being realistic, I'm thinking Anaheim might end up going either way. I think that could end up being a really good game. Should beat San Jose. I don't think we're going to beat LA. I could see like maybe 1-1-1 or in a perfect world 2-1, but we just have to watch the games when they happen. They've been so all over the place. It's just really hard to kind of be confident. I mean, again, aside from that Sharks game, because I just think, even though the offense, that game to me is the game where the offense, like that's the prime position where the offense can come out of the slump that they're in. Because I think they're going to have a ton of shots that game. They should have a ton of opportunity. That's going to be the game. So we'll have to see.
All right. So for me, it was the 2-1 loss to Calgary. Here's my points. So we were good enough to beat Calgary. We were good enough, but couldn't solve Markstrom. So basically, we got goalied. I thought if it wasn't for that, we should have beat them at least 3-2, and it was a 2-1 loss. So, and it's not the first time with Markstrom. Markstrom doesn't always do that to Montreal, but he does it a lot. Monty was good, and he kept them in it. Hopefully, it was long enough for them to come back, but they weren't able to solve Markstrom. Lindstrom got a second star for his goal. I want to say not for his defense because I don't know that he has defense. I think it was because he got a goal and then he blocked the shot, which I watched the replay of and it was like, oh, big block, but it hit his hand. It hit his hand. I'm sure he didn't put his hand in front of it. I'm sure it hit him. That's not to me anyway. Lindstrom down soon, hopefully. When you get 35 shots and the only goal was a fluky one, Lindstrom's goal was a fluky one. It was a pass through the crease that hit Rasmus Anderson, I think, and then went in. So fluky goal.
And I think I said that on stream too. I was like, I don't know how that went in, but I'll take it. But
that's how it went in.
Yeah.
That's how it went in. I saw today. I reviewed it.
He just kind of flung it at the net and prayed.
That's it. It's a fluky goal. 35 shots. You've run into a hot goalie or a goalie that has your number, which is what I think happened. Versus Vegas. First thing I want to say, refs sucked in that one. Gord Dwyer, we can't win. It's going to be 3 years now, games in 3 years. That's 8 games where when he refs, we don't win. So, and there's no wins there too. It's all no wins, losses, no overtime or shootout losses with this guy. So definitely, and the refs sucked. It was obvious. 7 penalties for Montreal, 3 for Vegas. Many missed calls, no evening up, so they get the first mention. I'm very with my hands tonight. Good job by the Habs, though. In the first half of the game, they were up 3-1 before Vegas just took over. So what Boston did to us on Sunday, Vegas did after the halfway point. Primo was great in the first period of that game. 18 shots against, no goals, and not to blame for the loss. It's not like Primo just forgot how to go. Defense was sloppy. The D was sloppy to very sloppy, giving up 42 shots in odd man situations, and you're doing a combination of those two things, your defense isn't very good. Habs still managed to chip away at the lead and almost came back all the way. As a matter of fact, at the end, it was 6-4, and I went, okay, that's enough. I've had it with the game. I left and shut the stream, and there was another goal. They almost came back. They still had a minute, and they could have tied it up, but they didn't. Aiden Hill wasn't very good in that game. I don't think Aiden Hill was very good in that game.
I thought Primo was the better goalie.
Primo was the better goalie.
Vegas has better defense.
Yeah, by the way, that was a 6-5 loss. I didn't say that. Versus Boston, 5-2 loss. Boston dominated pretty much from the drop of the puck. Pretty much. Boston performed almost to perfection. I've written this with huge motivation from the big bad Bruins and the banner raising ceremony. I was calling for Montreal to win. I forgot about that they were celebrating this. There was no way Montreal was winning that game. What's his name? Marchand, I saw him talking about it. And he said, there was no way we weren't going to put a great game in front of these guys. And that's what they did. They put a great game in front of them. And probably the other game too, it's probably why, because it was all happening all week, right? So I think that is a big thing there. Jake Allen, not the reason. I know Matt's not going to agree. Not the reason for that Montreal lost the ball.
No, the defense was bad.
Yeah, he wasn't the
There were a
reason.
couple goals he should have had, but
Your
like
defense.
that goal, Frederick's, what was it, second?
There was his second goal
The
when
one when he came out of the box.
Yeah,
Awful goal to let up.
No, I agree. There were two of them I thought were not, but the rest of the way, I mean, so it wasn't his fault. Slav, and we said, had that multi-point game. Not as great a game as he normally has lately, but he got 2 points, so everyone should just shut up about Slav and let him develop. No Habs player was a standout in that game. None. Habs gave up 40-plus shots, second game in a row, sloppy defense. Who are my standouts from last week? Monty had a good game, first one. They lost, but it was a good game. Slav, 3 games. I thought Slav played good and got some points. Ullinen versus Vegas was really good.
Yeah.
Ullinen was really good. And then I'm giving the refs in the Vegas game a standout because they stood out for how bad they were. And it was blatantly bad.
They were pretty bad. I'd
That's
throw Primo in there
Rick
too as an
love the
honorable
refs.
mention. Like I said, I thought Primo played again very well in that Vegas game.
The first period, he was amazing. He made 3
awesome.
amazing stops where I went, how did he keep that out? Like I thought they were in for sure. And 18 shots against, no goals. That's a really good period. Any goalie, right? So yeah. This week coming up, California trip. As we said before, we're in the 3 California towns. Better fucking beat the Sharks, man. That's what I would. Better fucking beat the Sharks. But you know what? They're probably not. That's what happens with the Habs. On that Frederick goal in Boston, he came out. They gave him the puck. He came out of the box. And I said on the air, watch, he's going to score. Boom, he scored. As soon as the words came out of my mouth, he scored. Like, it's crazy. That's what happened. So they better fucking beat the Sharks. 2 afternoon games on the weekend, which are odd, and it's a Friday afternoon, 3:30 start.
It's because it's Black Friday.
Hope the Habs are okay for those games and like that. And that's the Sharks is the weird afternoon on Friday. Jaden Struble up. Hope he stabilizes the toughness with Arbor out. That's why he's up. It's not he's playing well, but they need that toughness. Arbor's going to be out.
I mean, it's a combination of both, though, right? Because he has also been playing very well defensively in Laval.
No doubt, but he also, I feel better. There's a tough guy like that can fight. We missed him we missed Arbor against Boston. Big time.
No, yeah.
Injuries starting to kind of hurt and even mount again for Montreal. I'm a little worried. It's like that first shot over the bow. I'm just wondering, is this going to be a problem? I don't know, but it is starting to get there. All right, for the games coming up, I kind of see Anaheim. He said should be a close game. I agree. I see an overtime win if we win. Could be overtime.
I'm thinking overtime in general for that game.
I'm thinking overtime, and we're going to win. San Jose, it better be a fucking win. I'm telling you, everybody out there. I know I'm swearing. We're on video, but I can't help it for that. LA, I don't see how we beat LA. LA's playing really well. They're like 4th or 5th in the league, something like that. I don't think we're going to beat LA. So I think 2-1-0 for the week. Maybe 1-2-0. Or 1-1-1. I can see that actually being the case. Or 2-1-0. That's my guess. That's it. I know I talked a lot. I'm done. The other guy that talks a lot is up next.
Oh, man. I got to say, this was a fun week in Philly. 3-0 week. Not too much to complain about right now. I will say this. Things were good in Flyerland. Riding off of back-to-back wins last week against the Ducks and Kings, Flyers came out with an impressive 3-1 win against Carolina. Carter Hart was absolutely superb in his return to action, 31 of 32 in net. Owen Tippett continued his tear. He potted a goal. Team looked excellent. They struggled a little bit in the early stages. Carolina had a bit of an onslaught after an early goal from the Flyers, but they weathered the storm. Flyers put up 2 more goals. Carolina got one kind of late in the early stages of the third period, but at that point the game was I think it was actually late stages of second. But the game was pretty much almost out of hand at that point. The Flyers just played lockdown defense, kept them on the outside of the boards. But again, Owen Tippett just stood out in this game. He was all over the ice. Travis Sanheim continued to be a force on the defensive end, and Sean Walker looks like one of the big surprises of the season. After that 3-1 win, they finally ended their road trip and came home against the defending champion Las Vegas Knights, and it went very similar to how that Montreal-Vegas game started. Flyers jumped out to a 2-0 lead early, but Vegas came back, tied it at 2. The Flyers just could not stay out of the box in that second period. After going up 2-0, 2 goals from Vegas, Flyers got it almost instantly right back with a Sean Walker snipe from the point. But then 3 penalties in about a minute and a half span saw Vegas getting an extended 5-on-3 where they eventually scored one to tie the game at 3. Back and forth third period where the Flyers bent but didn't break. Great goaltending again from Carter Hart with about a .903 save percentage. I think he was 28 from 31 in net in this game. But the key here was you had an elite team like Vegas put this team on their backs. They outshot the Flyers heavily in the third period, but the Flyers just withstood the barrage. Hart was again superb. They limited the high quality bids. Vegas had another power play or 2 in the third, but they did not break. Overtime came, and when that happened, Sean Couturier found his old self, getting his 5th career overtime winner, sinking an ugly 5-hole on Thompson, leading to the team with a 4-3 win over the defending champs. Then the third game, they saw Columbus. Oofa. That you want to talk about a team that's in a peril. All the Flyers had to do was show up to this game, and they did. Owen Tippett's goal streak ended, but the secondary scoring came aboard. Travis Konecny had a beautiful snipe late in the third period to put this game on the wrappers to go up 4-2. This is a game that the Flyers pretty much controlled. They didn't even have to play their best game. Columbus just looks like a team that's on a mess, especially with Patrick Laine getting a healthy scratch. That kind of caught me off guard. But they looked excellent this week. Overall, when I look at their play, they looked like a team that is structured, that was pretty much that cared, that looks bought in, a system that is being implemented, and a team that is taking accountability. This is something that I've been very critical about the Philadelphia Flyers for over the last couple of years. They really didn't have an identity or accountability, and they are really getting both of these under a John Tortorella scheme. They're forcing teams to the outside. Low-quality shots have been a consistent factor when it comes to their defensive play. Carter Hart continues to look stable, and Samuel Ersson even has been pretty decent the last couple games in net. Last 4 games, he's got a save percentage of about .912. But looking at the whole, what it really comes down to is a team that's been bought in. And this comes from the upper management up. I am so proud of where this team has come from. I still don't believe they're going to quite make the playoffs, but I do believe this will be a team that is going to be playing meaningful hockey in March. And that is all I asked for when it came down to it. I'm wearing my Carter Hart jersey tonight because this man has represented this team and exactly what I've loved about them. They have played from the blue line out and a goaltender that looks like he's stable. Their next 3 games come against the Islanders at Long Island on Wednesday, an absolute showdown that I have been looking forward to for about 3 weeks now against the New York Rangers at home on Black Friday at 1 o'clock, and then a back-to-back back at Long Island. What I see this week is a team that I think is going to go 2-1. I think they're going to lose the first game of the Isles. They're going to have a game where I feel like they look at it, they're a little overconfident. This Isles team is a team that has not been playing well lately, but it's a team that I think that the Flyers have had historic issues with. I think they lose a low-scoring 2-1 game against them. Then they come out against the Rangers. They look at themselves in the mirror and look to make a statement, and they'll do just that. They're going to come out and beat the Rangers. I'm going to put a score prediction of 5-3 and shock everyone and put this team on the map to be recognized. And then they play the Islanders again. They're not going to look past them twice. They're going to shut them out as my prediction in that third game of the week. I predict a 2-1 week. I like where this team's going long term, and I am so proud of what the upper management has done here. Danny Briere and Keith Jones not only has brought a team that we can watch and enjoy, which has been something I haven't been able to say for years, but it's become such a likable team. The fans were actually integrated in this team this weekend. That building was not full over the last few years because of how poor the upper management's response to what the fans' outcry has been. They're listening. This team looks like something that's been worth watching and it's been bought into. I don't want them to steer away from the rebuild, do this right, but man, I am so happy where they're at. I just want to see stability, and they're providing that. If they're somehow in a playoff position by March, February, don't buy. Just go with what you got. That's all I'll say for this week. And with that, let's start making our way around the league. We got 8 teams we're going to be concentrating on this week. We got 2 from the Metro. What's up?
Rick's got a question. Rick's got his hand up. Yes, teacher.
I did not see the hand up. I was too much in
yes,
thought. Go ahead, Rick. What's up?
No, you can't go to the bathroom. Oh, we can't even hear him.
He's muted.
He's talking to himself.
Rick, your mic.
Rick, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
That's why you couldn't hear me. I just wanted to say that with the fans buying in,
moments.
the fans fully buying into, we got to save that to the team and everything. That lasts only so long because even here in Montreal, the fickle fans, and I hope yours aren't as fickle, are already kind of starting to talk down our GM and what's going on here. And our coach.
It's not even about what talking down the team. It has just been an upper. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'll make it a 30-second rant real quick about this. This team has been something that the upper management just has not listened to the fans and has not truly cared about. They did not have a direction. They did not have a stable look. They had a horrible upper management. Dave Scott was a definition of a travesty when it comes to ownership after our beloved Ed Snyder passed away. When he retired and Hilferty took over and hired Keith Jones and Danny Briere and John Tortorella to run this show, this feels like a breath of fresh air. That's where it really comes down. This team just looks like it's fun. It's fun to watch, and they compete night and day. And it's an upper management that cares not only about their team, but about what the fans' outcry is. And that's all I've asked for this season. They have delivered and then some.
That's kind of how I feel about our situation here. All right. Segue away.
All right. So we got 8 teams this week that we're going to be looking towards. Last week, we did a little bit of a concentration on 8 teams on the outside looking in. This team, we're going to do 8 teams that are in the inside and what their possible trajectories are. We have 2 from the Metro, 2 from the Atlantic, 2 from the Pacific, and 2 from the Central. We're going to start in the Metropolitan, and the number one team that I've been wanting to talk about this week is a team that both us and Boston is going to be playing this week, and that is the New York Rangers. This team has exceeded all expectations this year. When they hired Peter Laviolette at the beginning of the year, I watched this and I said, this is a guy who I have a lot of familiarity with. He coached my team for about 4 years, who is a very offensive structured coach who knows how to get the best of his team on the offensive end. You're going to see a high offensive output, but the back check and the defensive play of the team could have giant question marks. But that hasn't been the case. Now, mind you, they have an elite goalie in Igor Shesterkin, and that always helps things. But this Rangers team is
playing out of his mind.
Yeah, complete. Well, Igor is Igor. But when I look at the Rangers, they have just completely bought in. Their defensive structure looks respectably good, better than what I thought it was be. Panarin's been great. Zibanejad's been great. They have a lot of good players that seem like they have bought into this team system. They've lost Adam Fox to injury not too long ago. And I look at the Rangers, and one thing with Lavi is he's always been a great short-term coach. And I didn't think the Rangers would be anything close to this good this year.
They didn't just lose Adam Fox, though, Alex. Look at what they lost from last year.
No, they've lost more than that. But Adam Fox
lost Paris. No, I know, but it's just to further your point that this team is kind of, you would argue that it's surprising a lot of people, because Shesterkin didn't look that good this good as he did last year. And they had arguably a little bit more talent. I shouldn't say a lot more talent. They had Tarasenko, Patrick Kane, albeit people could say that they wanted about Patrick Kane, but they lost a lot more than just Adam Fox. Obviously that's from the start of the year, but them losing Adam Fox right now is big, but they're still playing unbroken from what it looks like.
It's a good system they have there. Peter Laviolette, I got my tongue twister there, has always been a coach that has been a forechecking coach who makes you beat the crap out of the opposition, the offensive end, and wear you down. And that's what he's done, implemented his style with New York. And I feel like they have a top 6 that can implement that. Even their bottom 6 can implement that so well. They have been one of the better scoring teams in the league this year, too, when you look at things. They have 52 goals in 15 games. They're averaging about 3.5 goals a game. They just look like a well-oiled machine right now. And then defensively structured is what's surprising about it the most. They've only allowed 34 goals in that time frame. They got a plus 18 goal differential. That's crazy.
You put the nail on the head. They have 3.4 goals for per game and 2.2 goals against. So that's a good reason for their success. They have a 33% on the power play. They have an 84% on the PK, and their face off
is crazy. I got 87% on PK.
It's just been consistent all around with the Rangers. I gotta say, now will they continue this? I feel like every team's going to hit that patch, but Lavi is a guy that gives some leeway when a team is struggling a little bit. But as long as you show some effort, the moment he starts seeing no effort, he's going to tear in you.
Is that why Alex Lafreniere is playing so much better?
I think that's part of it. Like he's a good coach for him because, like I said, Lavi is a very offensive-minded coach, and you're seeing it with the style of play the Rangers have had over these last few weeks. They just look like a team that is just completely bought in. It looks like a team that's just going to keep firing pucks on net. They don't care about quality; they care about quantity, and they want to make sure that your goalie is going to be aware and active at all times.
All right, somebody else got an opinion there? No, we all agree. I haven't seen them play this year, so
they're good.
I'm looking at their numbers.
They're very good. I think them and Boston are the cream of the crops of the East right now.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah.
So.
And that's surprising to me because I would have expected teams like Carolina and Florida and Toronto to
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah, well, New Jersey, even with Jack Hughes, you saw they lost. So I'm not sold on New Jersey, but that's fine. They're not a team on topic for tonight.
No, that is not. The next team we were going to talk about in the Metro is the Washington Capitals. And this is a team I feel like that has surprised all of us so far. I'm going to let you guys lead off on your thoughts first because I just rambled on about the Rangers for about 3 minutes.
No, I haven't been following them, but I'm looking and they're like, I thought they were horrible this year. They had a horrible start. They must have had a turnaround.
I pulled some fun numbers for them. So one word to describe them is a roller coaster. And I think uncharacteristically for this team, they're 7% on the power play.
Which is wild.
And that's even with Ovechkin. But
when we played them, it was 3.7, I think, percent. So
it's not hard to increase that number when it's
right.
So when you look at it that way, but their penalty kill is good. It's still at 84%. They're about even on goals for and goals against per game. So it's not as if they're it seems like they're just kind of doing things. But
when they win, they barely win. When they lose, it looks like it gets
pretty bad. Yeah. So the goaltending is extremely inconsistent, but that's what you're going to get, I think, with that team.
It kind of is wild when it comes to the Capitals too, because their thing with Washington is no one is really outputting at a high pace when it comes to scoring. Like they have one guy who has double-digit points this year. It's Ovi, and he only has 4 goals on the year.
Yeah, he's on pace. I saw for 25 goals.
Uncharacteristic for him.
Can I ask a question?
Second or third time in his career.
It's the second lowest. I think I heard. Does that make you? I don't know if concern's the right word. That he won't hit the Gretzky.
No, he's going to break it. He'll break it.
I think he'll break it, but it might take a little longer than I originally thought. I thought he'd probably get it by the end of next season.
He only needs 84 goals?
No, he needed 79, I think, coming into the season.
I could see Ovi get about 30 this year, maybe tops, because I feel like this is
without Backstrom, it's going to hurt him.
He's got
that's a big thing too. Backstrom's done for the year with his hip issue.
Oh, he's done for good.
I think he's done. Didn't he?
Career ending.
That's what I heard. I thought I heard that he's probably
this similar to what Patrick Kane went through?
Except Backstrom already had. I think Backstrom already had the hip resurfacing surgery, and he already tried to play through it. Yeah. Kane hasn't, I think, had that opportunity yet. I correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think Matt's our resident doctor, but I would trust Matt with a scalpel.
Matt, what's your case?
I forgot. Matt's here. I forgot.
He's
been very quiet.
He's been very quiet. So what do you have on Backstrom, Matt? I mean, do you know anything about that? I mean, I know you're pretty up on the injury front with a lot of these players.
So, I mean, historically, the hip resurfacing is basically like a tiny step down from a hip replacement. It's essentially a hip replacement, but you're really just working on the ball of the socket, not the whole joint. But historically, those injuries typically end up, or that surgery typically ends up being a career ender because players can just never really get that proper feeling back.
Or it takes a long time, like Sean Monahan. Isn't that what he had? And it took him a
No,
long
Sean
time.
Monahan did not have hip resurfacing.
Oh, I thought he had hip resurfacing. Okay.
No, he had I believe he had some sort of ligament thing.
Oh, that's not what I thought. Okay.
He did not have hip resurfacing. No, I think he tore a ligament in his hip or something, or like no, not a ligament. Might have been the labrum in his hip.
That might be it, actually.
So wasn't hip resurfacing. That's why he's kind of been able to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, typically with hip resurfacing, it's hard, especially because players typically have it when they're around like Patrick Kane and Backstrom, like in their mid-30s.
Yeah, he's old.
It's just hard to
his
get
age.
that feeling back, and
At his age, it's hard for. I mean, how old is Backstrom?
He's 30.
He'll be like 35, 36. Yeah. He's about the same age as Ovi, right? Give or take.
Yeah, he's not coming back from that.
He's 35. He's
not this
yeah, he's
year.
35. He's 2 years younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's
yeah.
not.
Okay, let's move on.
My question is.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, my question is, do they move Ovi? Do they trade him? Does he request a trade, or do you guys think he stays a Cap?
I've heard that that's
the look like. I think he's a lifer. I don't think he's going to end up.
No, he said it. I believe he said that if he's not playing for the Washington Capitals, he's going back to the KHL.
Yeah, he's not going to another NHL team. He'll either play there. He's another version on that retrospect. He's going to retire. I just cannot see him ever put on another jersey.
No, he said he's not going to. He's in Washington or he's in the KHL. So yeah. Okay, can we move on to the next?
So we have two teams in the Atlantic we want to talk about. First one is the Detroit Red Wings. How do we feel about them? They've been kind of up and down this year. They started pretty hot, and they've kind of come back down.
They're cooling off. Like exactly like I said they would. I said that they were going to cool off. I said that they were going to have defensive and goaltending issues, and it's exactly that.
And I feel
that high-flying offense is coming back down to earth. What was that?
I don't think they're getting a lot of depth scoring either.
No, they're turning into the Maple Leafs.
No, and the power play's starting to struggle too a little bit.
They're at the 20%. Yeah,
their special teams must be coming down because 18% and 78%. That's low, but yeah, that's on the low side anyway.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's their goaltending. It's not up to par. It's not. The insider needs help on the back end. So I think their forwards are fine. I think they're lacking like a smidgen of forward depth, but it might be on their fourth line.
But I know Sherrod and Petrie not working out.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
Not at all.
The Detroit Red Wings just
Petrie, I think, has been a healthy scratch a few times this season too.
Yeah.
Like that's a team that I look at. Like they added Shane Gostisbehere to be a guy who can be a quarterback power play guy, but it's just been it kind of has already fizzled, like you guys.
That experiment.
Yeah, it fizzled. He started out well. I remember he started out well, but that fizzled. Okay, I think I have Shane Gostisbehere. I think I picked him up, and I think I got to drop him again.
But nope, they're cooling off. They're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think. They're already starting to slow down.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite there yet either. I think this is a team that'll probably end around like 80 points and start to fizzle. They like I said, they need some depth scoring. They need some back end.
It's not the scoring. It's not the scoring.
No, their scoring is their top end scoring is good, but I think they need another depth scorer too.
It's definitely not their score. Their goaltending is not good.
Goaltending and defense.
Their Sider needs help back there. Like he's really good. Gostisbehere's okay, but he's
Gostisbehere is a defensive liability. That's the issue.
But he's okay. Like, you know what I mean? He's
not even okay on defense. He's a defensive liability. He can be a power play quarterback, an elite one at that when he's going, but he's a defensive liability.
And then you have Petrie and Sherratt. Yeah, they're garbage.
Yeah, Petrie and Sherratt not performing there.
They're soft. So I don't know.
Surprisingly,
very finesse. I agree with that.
Yeah, Sherratt shouldn't be soft. That's for sure.
Hey,
all right, so what's the other team in the Atlantic? Unless Matt has something to add.
No.
How about the Florida Panthers? This team is now doing the opposite of what Detroit is, and they have started to catch fire. They are 7-2-1.
They're getting guys back from injury.
Yeah,
that's
funny.
After the beginning of the year, they had Ekblad and Montour out.
Now they're getting
Now they got
healthy.
Montour back. I don't think Ekblad's
Ekblad and
back
Montour
yet,
are
but
back. Both
they
Ekblad.
got
Ekblad just
Montour
came
back.
back the other
He's
day,
been
I
playing
believe.
better.
I think like 2 or 3
Both
days.
Don't
of
know
them
how
are
long Barkov's going to be out for, but
I thought he was playing. I don't think they put
Is
him
he-
on IR.
okay. I
No,
wasn't
they did.
sure.
I don't know if they did. I tried to look that up today on Cap Friendly just to see if I could see if they placed him anywhere. I didn't see any news. I didn't look too much into it,
So
but I
if
thought it
he's
was
playing, then yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. The Florida's kind of heating up again.
I thought it
Brandon
was
Mont-
I thought it
Go
was
ahead.
funny the day that Montour and Ekblad came back, Barkov goes out with a knee injury.
That's a team
Like,
that's just
That's
just as
hockey.
you get two of your stud defensemen
They-
back, there goes your
they
first
can
starting.
never be 100%.
That's
They were like
adversity.
that in the playoffs too. There's always someone hurt there.
Yeah, it's adversity. You got to be able to overcome that
you
adversity.
have to-
That's the whole point. Their special
you know-
teams aren't very good.
Brandon
you know
Montour,
what? That I'm going to attribute to them being out two of their best guys because Montour and Ekblad both were on the power play and the PK units.
Yeah, so there you go.
Sure,
Brandon
there's-
Montour has got to be one of my favorite non-flyers in the league. This dude plays the game, and he's so clutch. He's a great puck facilitator. He's got a good sense of the game. I love his game. I am getting him back, especially for that power play, is such an uprising.
You're going to see that 16% power play percentage that they have right now go up to probably like 24, 25% by the end of the year. And that 74% penalty kill, that's going to go up.
Mhm.
You're going to start to see their goals for and goals against differentials kind of like decrease. But I still think they have problems at goaltending. I don't think Bobrovsky's it. He's
Right. He hasn't been it for a while. He's too streaky. And he's
Not
too
regular
old to do it
season.
consistently.
Listen, he was fire last playoffs, but regular season he hasn't
was-
been since Columbus.
But you gave him a day's rest, and look what happens. He collapsed.
You know who has
Oh, yeah.
really stood out to me on that team
The
is
final.
Sam Reinhart. He has been
He's good.
He's been very,
He is-
very good.
Steady.
he
Very
is,
good
in
for my
my
fantasy
opinion,
team, too.
a top 5 Hart guy right now. He's been
and a playoff guy. There's a guy you
he's an
don't.
everything
playoff
guy.
guy.
He does.
There's a
He
guy
plays
you-
a great 200-foot game. He can score.
But
He's
he
good on the
steps up.
back check.
He's a guy that steps it up in the playoffs. This is what I'm talking about. This is a guy you win in the playoffs with.
He's exactly. He is a big time playoff performer. He's the
Yeah.
type of guy you need to build a cup contender with. Is a guy
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
He's got a blistering shot. I think he's already got 24 points this year. He's been great.
Yeah. No, I
Right.
agree.
Next
I still think
division-
their goalie needs Stellaris looked okay, but I think they might need
Oh,
goaltending.
no, they need goaltending.
No, they definitely need goal. I mean, are they going to go back to Alex Lyon again?
Because if someone can break that forecheck, they have a good defensive structure, but the goal, I do get worried for that fan base for their goaltending unless Bob can get hot again.
Mhm.
We'll see. Okay, move on to the next division.
Pacific. All right. Pacific, the next team we have is the Los Angeles Kings, a team that you guys play this week. Well, let me hear your feedback on them, what you think of the Kings.
I haven't seen them play this year. I just think that they've got Pierre-Luc Dubois, who
And he's done, I think, what you and I both said he'd do, right? Stat wise, like
Goose
What-
egg.
8
It
points.
sounds like he's already checking out there.
Yeah, I thought I had
Yeah.
a question about him here to talk about. Yeah, I mean he is he is I'm happy Montreal didn't go after him because his numbers are very underwhelming. 5 goals, 4 assists in 16 games, 1 power play goal.
And he's like a what? Like a -7?
-3. But one of the things get
He's a -2.
PLD, your power play is going to be better. Really? How come LA's isn't? Or he's not great on the power
It's
play.
a different structure. It's just a different structure. And I'm not going to say he's actually underperforming. He's got like a half a point per game. That's pretty good.
For PLD
Yeah, you should be getting more from him.
or the money.
Especially for the money.
I don't know. What's his second line? What's that second line?
LA's got a pretty good team.
LA's
I
got
know
a
they
good
gave
top
up some-
6.
They gave up some of that secondary stuff to get him.
Yeah.
And
Arnte
so maybe
Kopitar,
that's what's
Quentin
going.
Byfield, him. There's plenty of talent.
I think Quentin
Yeah,
plays
I'll-
on the first line. I think
Well, I'm
Quentin,
just saying in the
yeah,
top
plays
6
first.
in general.
Yeah, but I don't know.
No,
who
they've got a
plays that
good team.
second
And
line.
listen, they're number 4 in the league,
They're
percentage
almost
wise.
averaging 4 goals a game. That team can score.
So yeah, so okay, so here's the point, right? So if you got a team that's scoring like that, aren't his numbers a little underwhelming for PLD and for the money he's making?
I can agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. But he could catch fire. I don't know. I'm not willing to throw PLD under there. I think a half a point per game right now is pretty good, only being 17 game, 17.
What is he making?
I don't know.
7 or 8 mil?
8.5 for
Yeah, that's not
for
worth
8
a
years.
point or half a point game. You need to be doing more than that.
Yeah, for 8.5. I
Yeah,
would hope so,
absolutely.
because if not, this league's got something wrong.
You need to
with
be
it.
getting me up close to at the minimum of a 70-point season if you're going to be getting me.
Right.
A half
No,
mil.
or 0.75 points again. Like I want at least that. For the
minimum.
money he's making, and that would be on the low side, right? This guy maybe doesn't have to get a.
They're going to
point.
get support to go
Might get
around.
close. And it's early in the season, so I take your point, Cam.
Yeah.
It's just that I didn't want PLD, and so I'm gonna gloat while I can, just in case he does get hot.
They're a sneaky good. They're a sneaky good team. I think they have a.
No, they are. I don't think we're gonna beat them.
Despite their face-off percentage, I'd say they have very good center depth. I mean, they have Philip Deneau, they have Ans Kopitar, and they have Pierre-Luc Dubois. Yeah, so I think despite the face-off percentage, I think they actually have a good core. Their PP percent is elite. Their PK percent is also elite, and they're second in the league in goals for and
100%. And they're fourth in the league. They're not doing bad. That's for sure.
What's the trajectory on them? Do we think that? Where do you see the Kings end?
I think they stay like that. I may drop a little bit, but this is a playoff team.
They're definitely a playoff team.
Yeah,
they're a
no
team that's
doubt.
going to probably host first round.
I think
probably
they'll be
win around or two.
second round exits.
Probably, but they could they've got a chance to win a second round. But I agree with you. Probably a second round exit.
Yeah,
They did their rebuild right. Next team I'm looking at is a team Cam's been pretty high on this year, the Anaheim Ducks. This is a team that's kind of started
next.
falling back. The Anaheim Ducks, who you guys have next, they've been kind of finding a little bit of fall back to reality. Their defense isn't nearly as horrific as it was last year, but it still has its holes. I don't know how Gibson still feels about being there as a whole, but they have a very good young forward core that they're building around. Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras. There's a lot of Leo Carlson. There's a lot of good young talented forwards on that.
They have 3 players out right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying as a whole what's on that team.
And 2 of those 3 are big names. They're missing Jamie Drysdale and Trevor Zegras right now.
Zegras is out?
Those are 2 big names that are out right now for them. So them being a 500 team right now without those 2 key players is not surprising to me.
And just to point, an actual 500 team, 9-9.
Yep.
That's an actual 500 team.
Yeah. I think they're going to be just fine. I don't know. I'm going to agree with Alex about Gibson. I think he's one of their biggest question marks. You can say the defense has some good holes in it, but that kid Minchikov is really good. Gudis is fitting in really well with their Earl Vakaninen needs to kind of do some more development if he even can at this stage. But I think their defense is actually okay.
Gibson's not happy. Am I right? Gibson didn't want to play there again.
He didn't want to be there at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't going to be.
But it's going to be hard to move him.
Why? What is it? Because of his money?
He's got a big contract.
He's got $6 million. Yeah, I believe.
$6 million though for a number 1 goalie, not too bad. Because take it from us, we had $10.5 million. $6 million's a lot easier to take if he's, I think Gibson's a good
if you guys are in the hunt, would you take him?
Would I take Gibson if we were ready for that kind of a goalie and we had Gibson like
he's only 30? He's only 30 years old.
Yeah, probably not because of the age, but talent-wise, I mean, Gibson's a good goalie.
Yeah. So, but they're not going to – if they're in the hunt for the playoffs, they're not trading him. They're going to try and find a way to boost the defense around him.
And at 30, it's going to be harder.
And they have $7 million, so expect them.
I realistically think they stand pat. I think that's a team that's still very young, that doesn't want to mess with the trajectory of the way they're going right now. I think they know where they're at. They're a team that they're going to say, we're not going to invest in this team right now. We're not going to go with an all-in approach to take a contract that could stall some of these kids' developments. Realistically, I think Anaheim is a team that's not going to quite make the playoffs. Their defense is better than last year, which isn't saying much. It was historically bad. But at the same time, it's a young, inexperienced team that is on the right track, but I just don't see them quite being good enough.
See, I have them making the playoffs.
You have
I
them
do.
making the playoffs?
I do.
Explain.
I think they're going to pull it out. Yeah. Look at their division. Their division's crap.
It doesn't matter. There's a whole other division that could potentially make 5 playoff teams.
I guess they could make the playoffs and not have a great record, but I mean, they're 9-9. We're almost at Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, which means they don't project to be a playoff team.
Yeah,
let me ask you,
they're third in the wild card race. They're third in the wild
They're in
card
the wild card race for now, but they're trending downward.
Is that because they are in such a shitty division? Or
yeah, I think they're in a shitty division. I think they're going to make it. I really think they do. Edmonton's, I don't think, going to get out of that hole. Calgary's not going to get out of the hole. Huh?
Are they?
Edmonton's playing better, aren't they? On a 4-game.
They're not getting out of that hole.
Probably
I don't think they're going to get out of it. No.
No, they got to get a goalie. If they can't get a goalie,
they're not getting.
But here's the thing: when it comes to that division, you talk about the teams below them. They have 3 really good teams that they'd have to at least pass one of them. Vegas, the Kings, and surprisingly Vancouver.
No, they wouldn't. They would just have to beat. No, they wouldn't. They would just have to beat other teams from the other. It's 4 teams from each division, ideally.
No, well, not always. It's been
not necessarily.
Not always. Not always. But you're saying that they have to do that. They don't have to do that. They just have to.
I know they don't have to, but I think the Central's going to put up 5 playoff teams.
I don't think so.
I think. Well, that will move us into the Central now that we bring them up. The first team is a team I think that's going to make the playoffs, and that is the St. Louis Blues. That team has been a very roller coaster ride. They lost to San Jose not too long ago, but they're a team right now currently in a playoff position. 9-7-1 right now.
Not for long.
But they have a good. They're pretty much built around their forward core, not compared to where they used to be 5 years ago when they were at the blue line out. That's no longer the case with them, I feel like.
Yeah, Alex, their power play is second worst in the league. Only
7.7?
Yeah, 7.7%, and their PK is garbage too. Also,
power play is poop too, and the Flyers have been a top 10 offensive team.
Okay, but so that's
so just to put it in perspective for you, they're also their goals against per game is 2.7, and their goals for per game is 2.7. So they're breaking even, if anything.
I think they're I think they're underachieving that aspect of things because they still have
not really sustainable.
Yeah, their offense is gonna find its game. I think. Braden Shen is one of the better forwards in the league, in my opinion, when it comes to a guy that can be from a leadership role. He just got anointed the captain this year, and he's a guy who's consistently a 70-plus point guy a game. Robert Thomas is a good piece there. They just added Kevin Hayes, who's been but he, as long as they put him as a third-line center at $3.5 million.
Their offense, we just played them. Their offense
they're not good. They're not a good team.
I think they have a better chance of making it than Anaheim right now. Personally,
they're
maybe not next year, but
they're in the first wild card spot, so that's not really saying anything. So again, I don't know if you know how the wild card works, but there are 2 of them.
Yes.
So Anaheim can easily squeak into that second wild card spot, or even get the first wild card spot. I don't think St. Louis is sustainable.
I think Minnesota ends up turning around and gets a second wild card personally, but that's me.
I don't think so.
But my second team that I wanted to talk about is probably, in my opinion, the second most surprising team out west this year, and that's the Winnipeg Jets. That team is a team we looked at and thought was going to be a complete tire fire this year. There was a lot of off-the-ice issues. They stripped the captain spot away, and then they go ahead and sign Scheifele and Hellebuck to these long-term deals in their early 30s,
and they didn't really want long-term deals. That's the
the consensus was what both of them. The consensus was they were both going to be traded before the season started.
Yeah.
And
Hellebuck wanted out.
They've been okay so far.
Hellebuck wanted out.
I'm going to say Winnipeg
one of the best goalies in the game. They go as Hellebuck.
Yeah. I don't think it's sustainable what they're doing. I just have this feeling they're going to have that drop off near the end. They may make the playoffs. They're not going far.
Yeah,
they'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to go far. Again, the Central and Pacific, they don't have good teams in them. So it's not going to be much for them to beat the teams that are below them. And that's what is going to propel you into the playoffs most of the times too. So, I mean, again, Winnipeg has 3.71 goals for, 3.12 goals against per game, 18% of the power play, 74% of the penalty kill.
And penalty kill is trash.
They're terrible.
Terrible penalty.
Those are not great numbers. They have to straighten out the PK, number one, which I'm surprised with. As decent as their defense is, that they're playing that poorly, but they're not helping Hellebuck out. Hellebuck's getting on the head.
When you're allowed over 50 goals for the season in 17 games at Hellebuck in that, there's something wrong in front of him for sure.
Well, that's it. I don't think it's sustainable where they are.
I don't.
They could get a wild card spot, but I don't think they do well in the playoffs.
I think they'll be right in the mix, but we'll see what ends up happening with them. I think they're a borderline bubble team.
Matt, what say you on Winnipeg, Mr. Silence over there?
That's been a team that you like to talk about a lot this year, man. I'm curious in your take on Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, no, like I said, I was of the idea that Hellebuck and Scheifele were both going to be moved before the season started. That didn't happen. Obviously, PLD is gone and Wheeler's gone.
Two big subtractions.
But no, absolutely. But like, does that mean then maybe the two of them might have been the issue in the locker room? Like,
Scheifele, of course,
kind of turned it around.
Definitely for sure.
I believe Scheifele has to be an issue. I don't like the guy. I don't think he's got much character.
He might, but like,
I mean, I know why you guys don't like the guy.
Turned it around. They didn't move Hellebuck. They didn't move Scheifele. I mean,
and they wanted to be moved. I thought Scheifele and Hellebuck did not want to stay there unless they were going to be satisfied with what the direction they were going in.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that much change in direction, and then they signed.
Like, which again, I mean, to me, I think maybe that just means that Wheeler and PLD were the issue. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but
you don't have
two of them left town, and then everything kind of shifted.
You also don't have to like Scheifele, by the way, because I understand why you as Habs fans don't like him. That hit on Jake Evans that he had in the playoffs a couple years ago. Yeah, I think he had a moment of like where he saw red. Maybe he's a locker room cancer, but he's not a bad player.
I'm not saying he's a bad player. What I'm saying is he's one of those chicken shit kind of guys that might start some trouble, but he doesn't really have the guts to back it up. That's how I feel about Scheifele. And you look at him, and he looks like this big body guy and this big dumb face, and I just don't like him.
Well, they also have Gabriel Velarde that they got from the Kings too, so I think that team might be good. We're just missing something, but I don't think it's sustainable for them.
I don't think
long term. I think the defense.
I think they go as far as Hellebuck can carry him.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's Hellebuck a bust when it comes to that team.
Yeah.
All right. Time for overtime. We're going to run out of time. This time we just got 3 questions, so it'll save some of the time. So let's get right into them. So what we're doing here in overtime, by the way, is I ask a question, and then we all get a chance to answer it and give our opinions, hopefully quickly. So we'll try that today. First question. Cam's going to like this one. Was it just me, or was anybody else thinking it would take those old Bruins an hour to raise those 2 banners?
I think we were talking. I think we were joking.
We were joking about it at the game. I was treating it like, you know what those theme parks where you have those like squirt gun races. It's like, oh my God. 1972 with the lead, 70 over. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying in the game. I mean, it was really amazing just to see them just kind of stand there and be able, because apparently, and I didn't know this, they never got to raise a banner.
I didn't know that either, to be honest.
Wow. That to me,
that's why they did that.
Yeah, for them to kind of live that and relive their glory, from 50 years ago was nice to see. I mean, it was awesome to see Bobby Orr there and everyone chant Bobby. So I only recognize.
I know that team. I hate that team. Great rival back in the day, right? So I really hated that team and knew them well. I recognized Phil Esposito and Bobby Orr. The others, they could have passed me. I would never know who the hell they are. And I just thought, oh my God, am I ever old? Because they were almost falling over.
Well, I think it was Phil Esposito that was almost the poor guy. Almost felt.
He looked so old. Like, I don't know when Phil got that old, but like I saw him and I was surprised that, oh man, Phil got old.
No, but really though, I was happy to see it. It was really cool to be in the same barn as those people, especially against their best rivals. So I think
I don't blame you at all. For me too, because like I said, back in the 70s, man, did I hate that team. And it was essentially those guys. Most of those guys were through the 70s, or enough of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking hated those guys. Oh. Not as much as Toronto, but still, I hated them more back then than I do today.
The world's smallest violin, Rick, is playing your song.
Yes. Did everybody get an opportunity? Let's move on. Okay, so there's this. I have an actual visual. So if I can find it, I forgot to load it. Okay, so I'm going to load this up. It's not going to take long. I got to that one. All right. Here it comes. Here's the visual. So this is a quote from, I don't know what language this is translated from, but it's Kent Hughes, Habs GM, saying this. So it's an interesting quote from him. I kind of translated it better than it's written there. Everybody wants McDavid and Draisaitl. We'd love to have them too, but those two players have never won a cup by themselves. Also, do we need a star? Edmonton is at the bottom of the league with two of the biggest stars in the league. What do you think he means? And do you agree with that?
So I'm gonna take this one to start. To me, I think he just means like it's not just star power that wins your championship, that wins you games in this league, right? You need to have a team behind them. The problem that Edmonton has always had, they've had those two guys up top. I'd even throw Nuge in there as like a third, kind of not on that level, but again, Nuge is like another kind of tier below type star. Other than that, it's always just kind of been a kind of mishmash, kind of put together forward group.
Band-aids.
And yeah, I mean they've never really been able to get over that hump. Draisaitl and McDavid have not been able to do it on their own. As great as they are, and they are great. To me, they're the number one and number two best players in the league. But yeah, I think he's, it's more than just having a superstar. You need to have a team behind them, a balanced team behind them. You can't just have 2-3 stars and then patchwork behind them. It doesn't work.
I'm going to piggyback on that.
Look at the Leafs.
I was thinking about,
four guys. What do you got after that? Nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off that. I agree. This is a league. This isn't the NBA where you can just have a super team of 3 elite players and then run it back with that. In the NHL, you need a top to bottom, 4 good lines, 6 good defensemen, and a solid 2 goalies. Simply put as that. Edmonton has built that team based off of a couple of elite guys and then a bunch of Band-Aids, as Matt just said. You can't win in the NHL like that. I'd rather have a team of B+ players than 3 A+ players and then a bunch of C's and D's out there. That's pretty much, in my opinion, what that means. You need to build stability. You need to build a good system. You need consistent goaltending, and you need a defensive structure that's going to eliminate the opposition. Edmonton can score, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex there. I think Alex has the gist of it. I saw an interpretation by somebody, and it was kind of exactly that. Someone's phone.
Not mine.
It was kind of like you can have the 2 stars or the stars, but if you haven't built your team properly, if you haven't taken that time to develop, to do all those things, those 2 stars are not going to win you a cup by themselves. So it's kind of between what everyone is saying here. Yeah, I think that's what it means. And I agree with it 100%. The Habs are doing it the right way. Flyers sound like they're doing it the right way. You build that whole team, or you don't build them at all, because doing it the Leafs way is clearly the wrong way. In my opinion.
Right. And I think it's the way you spend money too, right? You can't have, and I mean, again, Draisaitl and McDavid, do they deserve what they get paid? Yeah, absolutely. But more so with the Leafs, right? Like, you can't have over $50 million locked up in 4 guys, because then you can't do anything but put Band-Aids behind them. So you do. I mean, you can't go top heavy or just go like bottom heavy. You have to have a balanced, complete team. If you don't do that, you're not going to win in this league.
You got to do the work. The stars aren't going to do the work completely. You got to do the work, and maybe you develop those stars, or you go get them when you're ready. But you need that rest of the picture, or those two stars are going to like not guarantee you shit.
Right. No, and I agree with you with how you said, again, using the Canadians, that's an example. We're kind of building the team from the back out, but in that right way, right? Like we got a lot of really good young D-men, really good and it balanced as well, may I add, that, are developing decently. And then even in the forward group, we got a good young core of forwards that are developing well. Down the line, do we add a star? Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
But again, you have to have pieces. You have to have that depth and balance in place before you go out and add like a star talent to that. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
All right. Last question. I hope this one's a fun one. William Nylander is having a good season and is a UFA next season. He's seeking a $10+ million AAV. Probably for 7 or 8 years, 7 years.
Leave it like 10.5, but he might bump it to 11 now.
10+, yeah. So if you're the team that signs him, either Toronto or another team, if they let him go there, what are you getting from him in the next few seasons after that signing? Does he earn his money, or do you get a Huberdeau in Calgary result?
How old is Nylander right now?
He's young.
Yeah.
26?
Something like that. He's young.
He's a guy who's warranted of a 7-8 year deal for sure. Like he's not a guy. I think he definitely gets assistance from the team that he plays around because they have a great top six. But he looks like he's a guy to me who I think can still be very talented.
Oh no, I genuinely think he's it. Like I think he does a lot of that work himself.
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely.
it's so much the team around him.
I don't think it's Toronto. I think he's going to end up going elsewhere. I just don't see how they make him fit.
I can't see how Toronto's going to be able to afford to sign him at what he wants.
I'm going to give a random team prediction right now. I'm going to say he ends up in Buffalo 8 years, $10.5 million.
No shot he ends up in Buffalo.
He won't be in. He won't go.
Oh, not in the same
prediction teams.
There is
division.
Because they're gonna. If the Leafs know that they can't re-sign him, he's being traded.
So they're not trading him.
They're not going
to trade him into divisionally.
No way.
Trading him to the other conference too.
Yeah,
going out
if
west.
they're if they
genuinely, he's going to play the year out.
No, that's the thing. The only way I see them trading him is if they don't make the playoffs, because you need, or if they think that they're not going to win the cup.
No,
so that's the only way they trade him.
Fall off a cliff, then but then
So and they're not going to. So there is a high probability that he is going to walk.
That's why I say that. That's why my prediction.
But he is not. There is zero chance he goes to Buffalo.
Okay,
you know what? He probably won't walk either. They'll trade his rights near the end to somebody.
No, they won't.
Maybe after the season. But I don't even think they'll do that.
No one will do it.
I think if anything, they'd have to trade him before free agency, because if Brad Treliving lets him walk for nothing, that's a fireable offense, in my opinion.
You can trade UFA rights. You can trade the right to negotiate till the July 1st.
But what team's going to look at this and
is the right to negotiate first?
Assets for a guy who's going to be a free agent July 1st.
People will.
The moment they get eliminated from the playoffs, they can trade rights. Absolutely.
Yes, and people will.
I just
people
don't think
will give up something.
He's going to be a free agent anyway.
It's happened already, and teams will give up something. Obviously, not a great deal. But they'll give up something to get that opportunity to negotiate with him.
But
it is also the 8th year that you can get too. If you trade for his rights, you get the 8th year. Him to the extra year.
Yeah.
So which team do you?
Which is why teams do it.
Which team do I see doing that?
Yes. What team does he end up? My pick, I'm sticking with it as well. But my prediction's the Buffalo Sabres.
It's really hard to say because I don't know exactly everybody's money next year. And you gotta think it's got to be a
Buffalo's
team
going to have a lot of money next year. They have a lot of people that they need to sign. Buffalo's not going to want to pay him $11 million when they're going to need to pay Owen Power. They have other kids that are going to come up.
Owen Power's extension kicks in. He's
yeah,
already
they're
signed.
not.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about pay.
Power's extension kicks in, so does Darlene's.
They have 17 mil already, and that's not counting who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
What are you talking about? They don't have $17 million in cap right now. They have 7.
They have someone on LTIR, I thought.
It doesn't count.
Never mind.
$7 million, yeah. No, they're going to have $25 million next year in total cap space, but they also need to sign Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's probably going to want some money. They still have Devin Levi, I think, got on that ELC, but they're going to need to re-sign, Kenry Yokiyaru. They're going to need to sign Jacob Bryson. That's all going to take up some money.
Josh will get a bit of a raise, but they'll probably when the cap bump of about $4.5 million.
But he'll sign on the cheap. Tyson Josh.
They're not going to sign.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think it's going to be important for William Nylander that he's got to go to a contender or to whoever gives him the most?
No, he's going to want to go to a contender.
He's going to want. Well, that depends.
Money,
but
yeah, you know what, Cam? I think you're right. Because I think
he's going to go with wherever the money.
I think you could look at it either way, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend. It depends. If someone says look at Pastrnak. Hold on, Alex. You've talked a lot. So time out.
You haven't answered my question. I asked 6 times. What team do you think he ends up on? Give me that answer.
I don't know, but I said it depends. It's going to depend on money and talent, and it's going to play both into those factors. Because he's definitely going to look at a player like David Pastrnak, right, who also just got a
not going to Boston.
No. I never say he's going to Boston. I say he's going to look at him in terms of money. Because if you look at it, Pastrnak makes what, 11.25?
Mm-hmm.
Nylander's putting up similar points, and he's going to be.
Nylander's not as good as Pastrnak, though.
He's going to want 11.
He's putting up similar points and consistency.
He's going to want 11.
So he'll get around 11.5, I think, is what he'll ask for because of that.
Go ahead.
I think you're right.
But that's what he's going to ask for, just because of the other wingers around the league that he has consistently performed to.
Wouldn't it be a good idea? Wouldn't it be a good idea? Wouldn't it be a good idea for Chicago to go after him?
Maybe Detroit or Chicago.
Detroit, Chicago. That's all I wanted to hear. Predicted teams.
Yeah.
I have a different.
They both have the cap.
I just got to look at their cap situation.
I could see Chicago more than Detroit. I don't think Detroit has.
He would go to Chicago. You kidding me? If he has an opportunity to be like, I could play with Connor Bedard.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I could see Chicago.
I'll get my points. That's fine. I'll get my points. Yeah,
I agree with that. I could see
Chicago might even offer him 12, just because.
You have a team first line of Nylander, Bedard, and Taylor Hall. That's a pretty damn good first line. You're giving them talent.
Yeah, to me, I think Chicago would be maybe the first team going after a guy like him.
But Chicago also has other issues they need to work out, not just the scoring. They also have defensive problems. They got goalie issues.
I'm going
Anaheim.
You think Anaheim? I don't think Anaheim.
I like Anaheim. Anaheim's going to have $32 million in cap. They had a guy like him on that first line with Zegras and
they already
have Terry. They already have young up and coming talent. They're going to have to get out of Alex.
They have Carlson too.
They're going to have 30. They're going to have plenty of money, and that team is getting on the precipice of breaking
They have
out.
Carlson, Terry, and Zegras already.
Wouldn't be a bad shot. Wouldn't be a.
Well, there's some teams.
I could see him in Anaheim.
But you're right. Adam Henrique is coming off the.
Henrique and Silverberg are both UFAs.
They're coming off 15 years old too.
They're gonna have $32 million to play with. I think Anaheim. I like Anaheim.
Yeah,
I can see Anaheim.
Yep, I think that's a possibility.
I think we're in agreement on those. That is going to conclude the show because we're running to time. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please check out our podcast, not just here on YouTube. Check it out on Spotify, on Amazon, and on Google. And you can, that's the audio versions. So you can listen to the audio versions. This one will be out in audio form as well. And that's it. Anybody got anything else to add before we go?
Don't forget to email us.
Yeah, email us with any questions. that you guys have. Maybe you guys want to have a question on here during overtime at puckingaroundpodcast@gmail.com. It's the name of the podcast at Gmail. So yeah, just send it to us, and we'll see if we like the question, and we'll answer it during overtime.
We'll address it right here. Also, check out Matt and I's podcast, Habnormals, also available on Spotify. Just there for now, and it's all Habs all the time. And please check that out. Let us know what you think about that. We don't have an email address necessarily, but you can email us here at Talking Habs for anything for that. And that's it. That's going to conclude it. Thanks, everybody, for watching and for listening. We do appreciate that. Give us a follow when you're listening. And over here, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you haven't yet. We'd appreciate that. And that's it. Take care. Stay safe. Peace out. I screwed it up. Am I nervous? I don't know. And we'll see you next time. Have a great week.
Have a good night, everybody.
On the ice. And go Habs go.
Let's go Flyers.
Let's go Bruins.
There you go. Ciao, everybody. Isn't it nice? I'm ready.